What is up, guys? What is up? I'm messaging our guest right now to let him know we are live. I'm excited about this guy. We've actually just been talking a couple days. He has some very good shots and videos on his Instagram is where we found. I was using the old Instagram formula to find new followers, and this guy's name is Álvaro, and his Instagram feed is great. They are a studio media company, and he has a lot of, I would say, I don't know, a lot of the B-roll type stuff we were working through with the solo B-roll challenge. A lot of off, I call them off-camber shots almost. A lot of that kind of stuff. So I'm excited to kind of get his thought process and what he shoots with, kind of how he does his lighting and things like that. But let's talk number one story of the year already, and probably for the entire year, is my little brother, Stephen Narx, and his wife are about to have a baby. Like any minute. I've been waiting. They went in this morning, started the process. Airplanes. There's a custom airplane manufacturer right around the corner from me that builds, I don't know, trick style airplane flying ones. Thought it was him messaging me, but it wasn't. So they are at the hospital right now, going through the process of getting ready for that baby. If you've had babies, you know that takes a little bit of time. That's always how it goes, right? So that's the biggest, most funnest. I'm excited to be another uncle. I'm already an uncle to two beautiful little girls. Now I'm going to be an uncle to a little boy. So that's a huge, huge excitement. If you know us, you know we are boys. We like cars. We like being outside. We like all that kind of stuff. Well, Steven is even more boy than I am. He likes guns and shooting guns and hunting and all that kind of stuff too. So this little boy is going to be, he's going to be a boy's boy for sure. Steve and I have talked about go-karts. We had a go-kart when we were about my oldest daughter's age. I was about, I think 10 or 11 or 12 when we got our go-kart. So all the kids underneath, yep. Okay. Álvaro is in the back screen there, backstage. I'll get with you. We'll bring you on in just about 3 or 4 minutes. I want to give an update to everybody on the old truck. If you didn't watch the live feed on Wednesday night, we have pulled the heads off. I am replacing the lifters now. I'm cleaning the factory lifters I had from a lower mileage engine. I'm cleaning those and going to soak them in oil for a little bit and throw them back in. Hopefully I can get that done tonight and get the heads back on. I just put the front cover on. I don't know if you guys will be able to see. Yeah. See the red there? Where's it at? Right there. Nope. Down. Right there. My arm won't bend like that. It has the oil drain in it for the turbo. We had been draining the turbo into the oil pan that was in that, into the oil level sensor hole. Woo! Say that 5 times fast. And that doesn't work. It works for a little while so you can get your stuff sorted. It doesn't work all the time because what happens is after a really hard pull, the oil has, it obviously cannot feed past the oil level. So it can't. So what happens is it feeds back into the turbo line, and you end up getting smoke out of the exhaust because the oil is fed into the turbo then and is needing to go somewhere because it's also getting forced in to the top. So bloop, bloop, bloop. Doesn't work. Too much oil, too much smoke. If we're going to drive the truck like I intend to for 2021, we have to get that fixed. Drag and drive is in 2 weeks, 14 days from tonight. So I have to get ready and get that done. One thing I didn't do is get me a beer. I should have done that a while ago. Our, Miller Lite, the best beer in the world, keeping it cool with our, keeping it cold with our sweet patina magnetized koozie. All right, let's get into it here. Let's see. We got Big Chief 60 saying salute, sir, and everyone. We got Old Car Guy. He had a premiere that came out at 6. I was going to watch it, but I'm here with you guys. You need to sub to his channel. Tons of cool stuff. I like his style of shooting. He does really, really good job on all of his videos. Editing is great, and all that, lighting, all that kind of stuff. Johnny Clyde is in here. He says he's ready because I had asked everybody if they were ready. Johnny Clyde said he's ready. So let me get my my headphones on here. My earphones. Having a hard time. I turned 40 yesterday, and I didn't sleep well last night. I had too many margaritas. So we'll bring Mr. Álvaro. We'll find out how to say his name here in just a second. I should have hooked all this up a few minutes ago, but I didn't. See my fancy Y splitter for my microphone here. All right, guys, let me know if you can hear me well. All right. Hello, sir. How are you?
Hey, Mike. Can you hear me?
I got you, dude. Hey, how do you say your first name?
You said it just right, man. It's Álvaro. So thank
perfect.
you.
Awesome.
Do you want me to turn out the camera or?
Man, if you want to, it'd be great. Kind of lets people build a little more rapport with you and things like that.
Yeah. Let me just get here.
No worries.
There we go.
What's up, dude? Oh,
hey.
Man, look at that beard. You're like, man, it's a mastery. Look at that thing.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Let me get this. Hold on. Get this a little bit. So not that close. Okay, here we go.
There you go. Perfect. All right. So, I came across your channel.
Right.
You came across mine. I can't remember. It's one of the two. Somehow, I think you messaged me first.
I think I did. Yep. Yes.
Yep. Hey, we got somebody in here from the UK. That's kind of cool.
Hey, hello.
Right. So let's discuss. You run a couple different Instagram pages, and then obviously through that, I found some YouTube stuff for a little bit of studio media stuff. So why don't you kind of give everybody the way, one, to find you, and then two, where they need to go to subscribe and like and all that kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah. Well, so I'm a filmmaker. That's what I've been doing all my life. I've been doing videos, most of the time videos for, man, it's been 20 years now. And
that's awesome.
During the last 5 years, I decided to focus more on cars. I've loved cars forever. I mean, especially hard rods.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, I have this anecdote, which is that I've never seen a hot rod until I got to Texas. So that was something, man. That was something special. And so, little by little, I started getting to know people and showing them my work and what I do and whatnot. And they liked it, and you know how it is. You build a network and you sort of get to know each other, people, et cetera. And that's how I started to build my Instagram account, which, by the way, it's Álvaro _Amerisis. That's AMERISIS. That's where I try to post as much as I can of what I do. And while doing that, I also like collecting little cars. I've been liking that forever too. So I thought about, well, how can we create a product that is not similar to what's out there? And I did some research. I guess that was one of the things about the pandemic. You had a lot of time to get yourself in alternatives, right? And so I found a way to make the 3D models and 3D print them, and that's the other sort of venture that we got ourselves involved in with Bang Knuckles. So if you look for Bang Knuckles on Instagram, that's the one completely dedicated for the little cars. Yeah. And yeah, man, that's what we're doing.
That's exciting. So I want people to understand the level of detail in this thing.
Right.
I'm going to pull it up here real quick. Talk to us and kind of tell us the idea behind that. Like, were you looking for something that was that wasn't really available? Were you looking for something that was something that you could do because obviously you have a little bit of extra time?
Well, to be honest with you, I wanted to create a product. See, I have it with me right here. I don't know if you can see it.
Amazing.
And I first approached Nathan Hale Speed Shop, and I talked to them and I told them, hey, listen, why don't we try to do something? I had no idea what I was going to do, to be honest with you. And my first project was to, do like the your usual die cast, but that was really complicated and it was expensive, to be honest, very much. So we deviated from that idea, and then I found that if we make a 3D model with the right textures and whatnot, it could be 3D printed. So we found this company that does incredible 3D printing jobs.
Obviously.
And yeah, so they had this like super machine that basically recreates whatever's in the picture, whatever texture you have. It will print it and sort of meld the colors with the photos as it does the printing. So it's
wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. So and they come as like a complete piece, with the colors, with everything.
So I really like that thought process too, because here's the reality. Like the person that's buying a car from you that is going to be like, say, something that's built by Hale's shop. The benefit to that is like they're probably not going to be using it like a Hot Wheels car.
Sure.
Truly, And I saw you have a couple different sizes that you can do and things like that. So, you think about it, you take somebody's truck like mine.
Yes.
You print that with all the patina and everything like that.
Everything.
It would take months for a model builder to build that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was the thing, because how do you get the details? And turns out this is relatively new technology. I mean, these guys have been out with this particular machine for I think it's no more than 3 years.
Wow, that's awesome.
And what shocked me was the level of quality. Man, I've seen like shoes. Once you have a very nice 3D model, I guess that will be the initial cost that you will get yourself into, because you have to have a good 3D model with the right textures and whatnot. Now, in the case of Hale's and any 3D model that has intricate patterns or things like that, you need to not only build the 3D model but also get the texture. So we approached it by doing photogrammetry, which basically you take a bunch of pictures, and those pictures become the textures that wraps the 3D model.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So then it's just a matter for the printer to print it, and then it gets it right. But because otherwise, how do you get those details? It's not possible unless you have somebody painting by hand, and that's crazy.
Well, and that's what I was going to say too. Is like doing a solid color. My first thought comes to like Destroyer 1320. He's got a 2020 Challenger, so that would be easy because it's gray with his decals on the bottom. You could almost cut that decal and lay it on there.
Sure.
But that truck with the amount of patina that's on it, that's not an option.
Right. And if you think about it, it's an exact replica. I mean, it's got everything that you will see on the real one. This one has. Again, as long as we even got the C10, going. You know what I mean? And at the front, we used to have the Chevrolet right here at the front. We have it on this one, but I don't know, man. People at Chevrolet were like, I don't know if you should use that or not.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. But my point is, you can have just every single detail. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but you can even see the at the back, the Texas plate and
wow.
Anyway, so
that's wild.
Yeah.
Now, do you live close to his shop then?
I do actually. Yes, I live in Frisco, really close to Little Elm.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's funny how I met him, because I was looking I was looking to take some pictures, to be honest, and I saw his documentary. So I texted him over Instagram. Then I realized he wasn't going to respond fast or whatnot.
Yeah, he's a busy guy. Yeah.
Kept on, texting him, and so at some point he responded, and I went there, and that's how I met him. And from there, the relationship just built on.
That's amazing. And they seem like in the documentaries I've seen, and some of the videos he's done for interview stuff. They're very nice.
They're cool. They're cool people, man. I am much appreciative about, their support. I mean, I love cars, but I'm not, I'm not a mechanic, and I don't fully understand some of the cool things about building cars, man. That has to be said. But I appreciate the work, and I appreciate the talent and the decision making in terms of, what he does and how he combines the colors and what is the rationale behind it. I love that. So we've spoken, and he's been kind enough to open his shop and show me his work, and every time I can, I try to shoot some pictures, and just I guess offer some of my talent to his disposal. He can do whatever he wants with the pictures.
Well, and the really neat part about being so close is you can run over and get a couple short videos or a couple photos and then take them home and edit them and all that kind of stuff. And
yes,
it just helps him grow. It helps you grow as well. Cause I mean, obviously he's a national name, so that's a plus.
Yes. Yeah, exactly, man. I mean, I really believe in good karma, I mean, if you treat people well, that just returns to you. And I know, having this sort of entrepreneurial, I guess, spirit, how hard it is to get a business running, and it really, I mean, you know that.
Yeah.
So when you meet people that have been there and are, putting the work, and that's just inspiring. And I like that, I like being involved in that kind of environment.
Well, and then the other side of your stuff too is extra hard because there's so much clout that comes with, oh man, cover my vehicle and I'll share it everywhere,
Yes.
Listen, I'll get paid in clout.
Yeah, man. I mean, I've gotten plenty of those too. The thing is, I guess people don't realize that when you go there and you take the pictures, you sometimes carry, a little fortune in your bag, in terms of lenses and whatnot, and all that. But even so, it is always about who's behind the camera. And I think that's really what you pay for. I guess many people get caught up in, what equipment you have and this and that. And to be honest with you, I think it's irrelevant once you know and understand what you're doing and what makes a good picture, and which is a different thought process. The camera's not going to do it for you, regardless of how expensive it is. So, and that I love, that I really enjoy. I enjoy lighting. I enjoy composition. That's what I've been trained and what I've been doing for my whole life. This is just another venue where I can apply and have fun. That's the important part.
Yep. Now you talked about Frisco. So do you hit a lot of the shows that are there too?
Yes. Yes. In fact, I try to go, to as many as I can, to be honest, because it's the best of both worlds, because I get to see these beautiful cars, and I actually also promote my name and talk to people about what I do. So it's a win-win for me. In fact, last weekend I went to the Good Guys, which that's like 45 minutes away from here, but in the DFW area, I try to go to as many as I can, and just meet good people, man. I mean, I found that you meet just decent, good people willing to talk to you and open and positive about your work, and that's always rewarding. I love that.
Yeah. One thing so we do quite a bit of charity stuff too, for a children's shelter here in Northwest Arkansas. Right. And one thing that I always say to new people that are coming to an event is that car people are probably the nicest folks you'll.
I'm with you, man. I agree. Yep. I really agree. So when I moved to Texas, I didn't know anybody, and I just went ahead and made a list of all the shops around, not knowing anybody, and I just went, door by door saying, "Hey, this is me," and it was funny how the minute you make a comment about a car that's behind the guy, or you see something, the tone of the conversation completely changes, because I guess you're connected in the same frequency, and you start talking about what you like, and I love that.
That's awesome. So let's talk a little bit of God, like your pictures are so great. Hang on, I'm going to pull up your Instagram.
Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Right here, and let's see how I do this. So I'm going to share the screen. Now,
You know, I met somebody from, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's from Arkansas at the Good Guy show, and we spoke about me going over there. I'm gonna double check and I'll confirm with you, man. Because if I'm there, you know, maybe I can pay a visit.
Yeah, definitely. So this is obviously Banged Knuckles.
Yes.
Site or Facebook page here.
Right.
Just look at like this video here. I hope everybody can see it because if I share my screen, just the thought process in like putting this together. Now, did you shoot all this?
Yeah, everything, man, everything.
I mean, that's awesome.
Thank you.
So there's a lot of folks in the chat that are, I mean, we're obviously all aspiring YouTubers, automotive YouTubers, but this kind of detail, it's pretty wild. So I just want to talk about, there's a challenge called the Solo B-Roll Challenge, and we all just went through it. It was like 25 groups of us, or 25 channels went through, and it was like how you do your lighting, how you basically tell a story with one camera, one person, all that kind of stuff, right?
Right.
When I eventually moved from your Banged Knuckles to, you know, some of the other channels you have, which as we go along here, it really played in the back of my mind how much I think there's a lot of vlog style videos that I do that's me recording, shooting, working on something, things like that. And there's a lot of the cinematic part of it that you bring to a lot of your videos of people working that obviously elevate the feel of a video, the style that you put in. So I want to
thank you very much, Mike. Thank you very much.
Yeah, man. So, and that's really what turned my brain into like, I would love to have this guy on, because like all these guys over here, we're all trying to make it work and trying to figure out. And I think if we can bring some of that style into our videos, it would help. So can you walk us through like just like if you're watching someone work, how do you make how do you go, okay, I want to, like one shot in particular was the camera filming somebody grinding something, but it was like it was just super slow and it was really detailed. How do you do you just see those shots, or is it like, okay, I'm going to lay this right here?
I mean, you I guess you do get to that point where you sort of know what's good lighting and what good framing is. I mean, I don't think there's a shortcut to that, or that other than training your eye and do it, you know. I remember I had the fortune, man, of going to a film school, and the first class we had for lighting was us going to the museum and watching the paintings and how these guys, you know, did their thing. So what I'm trying to say is, this is the advice I give everybody all the time, is pay attention to what good lighting looks like. And we know that. We really do know. We just don't pay attention. And once you understand that, then you go, okay, so how would I replicate this with artificial instruments like lights and LEDs and whatever that is that you want? That would be my first advice. And it's funny because not that many people do that. For me, for example, I love, and it's almost actually shame, but it is constantly being used, and it works, and it pays off every single time. When you want to shoot something, say a car, right? Usually you would wait for the sun to come down or very early in the morning, because that light is soft and it wraps around the vehicle and it makes it look nice. Plus, people react positively to that kind of lighting, because we like that, you know. We like to think about waking up or the dawn when you rest and whatnot is not so harsh. So the first thing, about, you know, going back to your question, that I think about is light. You know, how do I make look this decently? Obviously, some shops don't have that. Some shops are what they are, and you know,
some shops are this right here. What I'm in.
Well, see, for example, in those cases, I will try to look for corners that you know, somehow get some lighting intention somehow, or just bring a little instrument, you know, like a little LED tube, something like that, just to give it some intention to the light and just make it pop a bit. That's really my first concern. And then they're usual tricks. I mean, people love, and especially nowadays, people love slow motion. That's a good trick. I think that helps to set a mood, to say this is a special, pay attention kind of thing. And if you combine that with a movement which is slow enough, what I see sometimes, people go crazy with the movements. Just because you can doesn't necessarily mean you have to, especially when you know that is what you have to pay attention to, not the movement itself. The movement should be more like a companion sort of thing. Doesn't it should, I mean, this is just my humble opinion. It shouldn't call attention to itself, right? So those two things I try to look for, three rather. Good lighting, whether a camera movement is required or not, and try to shoot in slow-mo as much as I can. Because also the good thing about slow-mo is, sometimes you rush it a little bit, and the shot is not as perfect as you would like it to be. So you can stabilize it after the fact and just look nicer and whatnot. Sound helps a lot. I've been playing with sound myself. And it's incredible, how much power it gives to the image, man. I mean, it really does. It really adds a lot.
Well, and so when you say sound, do you mean like the way my voice carries, or do you mean the background? Like how much of the, let's stay on the grinding part. So, you have the guy grinding, there's either music talking, or it's someone speaking, not music talking.
Yeah.
Someone speaking.
I think it's a combination. I think when you have a good sounding voice of somebody that is in front of the camera speaking, that feeling of closeness because of a good mic position the right way, that generates rapport with the audience. I mean, that's how I see it. And then, when you have a good soundtrack, and try to combine and give it, all the sequence a rhythm that follows the soundtrack. Sometimes I cut to the beat. Sometimes I don't, try to deviate and just, keep the attention on one shot, for example, that I think it's important, then go back to the beat. Then just find a rhythm that way. But I think sound is a combination of things, man. Sometimes it's incredible how no sound, it's powerful. Because, people expect that, but maybe you take them away from that by not giving them exactly what they look for. And that could also create an interesting reaction. Yeah.
So I just had this thought too. So I have been discussing with Brian Late, Black Seed Originals, and we've talked. Eric Destroyer 1320. We do like this brainstorm sessions every week where we talk about ideas and thought processes and what's working and not on YouTube. Right. There is a local. I think it's Fayetteville here in Arkansas, Fayetteville Public TV or something like that, and they offer classes. I mean, to me, like, I don't have time to take like a full film class, but in your opinion, for guys that are like us, that typically are, GoPros and phones are probably our most used thing. Like, should we invest in some time like that? I mean,
I think so. Listen, and this is coming from somebody that invested in film school. Don't get me wrong, I loved it. I had a great time, but I don't think it's the way to go. That's just my humble opinion. Okay. I think you learn a lot by doing it. In fact, one of the things that I was kind of regretting, to be honest, especially the first few months at film school, was the fact that I had been working like professionally by the time I got there. I just didn't have the money to pay for it before. But when I got there, I already had experience, man. And some of the things that I've been taught were so basic, I really felt like I was wasting my money. Yeah. And I thought about quitting, to be honest. Then you learn all things.
Well, and wasting time too. So you almost have to go through that basics class, and you're like, I don't need that basics.
I don't need that stuff. A 3-point lighting, dude. Really? Yeah, man. I've been, But it was cool. You meet people, and you do all the things, and I learned a lot about story, which wasn't my forte. But I think you really learn a lot when you do it. When you expose yourself to manipulating the camera, understanding the settings and what they do and what they don't, and how you push them or not. That's important because you have to know your tool until they become second nature. don't get caught up with it. It's really not important. And again, going back to what I said, I think it is important to train your video. So when you look at a video and you look at it and you go, why am I feeling this video or photograph is important? What does it have? And that reasoning, sort of in trying to make like a reverse engineering kind of thing. It's funny because sometimes I don't do it anymore because it got me in trouble with my wife, but I would watch movies and I would pause them. And I'm like, damn, that's good lighting. And I started thinking about where the light came from and where the camera went. And she's like, really?
She's like, that was a good part. You're like, I know, but
yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. But I still do it. You see, I still do it. I still try to understand, how they did it, what went into it. Yeah. And the good thing about, the current times, man, is, the tools are so less expensive than they used to be. Yeah. You can go crazy, sure, but if you know what you're doing with the right tool, you can really produce high quality stuff. People constantly ask me, did you shoot with an Ari? Did you shoot with? I'm like, no, man, no, this is what I shoot with. Yeah. So I don't think you should invest in film school. I definitely don't think so, unless you really want to focus on the storytelling part. But even so, man, there are so many good courses out there. I can share with you a couple links, where guys, go in depth about lighting and what to do and what not to do. And if you want to sort of develop, like understand more what does a good story, there are a couple of books that are really good, man, and also some courses online. So there's no need. And YouTube is man, I go to YouTube all the time.
Yeah, it's dangerous in that world.
Yeah.
So I think let's definitely maybe give the folks some things down in the description if they're watching this later. Obviously, sure. They'll have to watch it later for the descriptions. Everybody in here. One thing that Straight Six Fan says is, he said, when you start to think about it as sound design, you'll get it. And
right.
Him saying that makes total sense.
Yes, I agree. I think sound designing, it's crucial, man. I mean, some say that it's really 70% of the image if you know what you're doing. And I agree with that. I think sound is very powerful because we don't fully get it, but we feel it. And that sort of, I guess, subconscious way of connecting with it, I don't know, makes it very powerful if you know what you're doing, man. Yeah, absolutely. I wish I could say more with sound, to be honest.
So what do you, like in your interviews with people, what do you typically, what is your microphone setup?
So when I do interviews, I have a DAT Pro, simple mic, and I just put on a boom and try to get as close to the subject as I can, try to monitor, that, it's coming clear. That's really all there is to it. I record on a small, nothing fancy, USB capable Sony recorder. And, then I just copy those files onto my hard drive. And, since Premiere allows you to sync so easily nowadays, you just double click and it does it for you. There's just that's what I do when I have somebody, in front of the camera. Then with sound, I just subscribed myself to a service. And I think you pay like $30 a month or something like that. And you have, I don't know how many songs, and, you pick and choose. I think I'm thinking about changing it because I've heard some of the songs I've chosen elsewhere. You don't want that to happen as much as possible, But that's really my main process when it comes to music, man. I consider myself a very musical guy. I love music too. And so when I'm shooting, somehow I'm thinking about what music could go with it. And then I look for it and then I try to edit on the beat and, just have fun, man. I look at it as a sort of a music video, give it a rhythm and give it something. So it has that flavor, I guess.
That's a great way to think about it too, especially with a lot of the stuff. I mean, obviously I've just, I've watched your stuff for a couple of days now. I didn't even know who you were on Sunday Yeah, I've kind of devoured some stuff. And that's why I was excited for you to be on, because the more I looked, the more it became sorry, I'm getting some feedback. The more I know that you could help everyone else, because there's a lot of stuff that I feel like we can put in our videos that we miss because we're just trying to get out. So I said all that to say this. How long do you typically, like, if you're going to put out like a 7-minute video, let's say,
Right.
do you think you have a couple hours in editing that thing? Like, is everybody shortcutting a little bit because they're just trying to get the video out?
That's a good question, but I think it has to do with the nature of the content, man, to be honest with you. I think if you just want to promote your brand and just get the word out, I mean, obviously you can go fancy with it too, but if it is something that it's required because you want to push the algorithm and it has to be simple, I think you have to consider that too. Now, if you really see, for example, that clip that you showed of the car, turning around and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
that took me a couple of days, man, because I shot for probably one day, and I try to work as fast as I can, but I shot it for one day, and then I edited for another day and then tweak it. But I knew that piece had to look good, and you had to have that fancy kind of product, television-like kind of flavor to it,
Yeah.
Usually when it's just me and one more person helping me with the shots, I take a couple of days to make my video, 2-3 days, but it depends, man. It really varies.
Yep.
I think again, if you obviously see, for example, I do work for another guy, and they've hired me to do content for their YouTube channel, right? And sometimes I realized I don't need to be fancy or anything, because they just want something,
Yep. They just need the content.
Right. So you need to, I guess, evaluate that and sort of realize how much your time is worth, and therefore, if I invest, I don't know, 24 hours shooting this, how much does it mean in terms of money and resources and whatnot? Is it worth it? Maybe it is. Maybe it is.
Right. That's a great way to look at it. I think the hardest part for folks like me is, like, let's say I spend a day, which is for me like 2 or 3 hours that I can work on, or I'll spend like 2 days putting a video together and making like little subtle edits and things like that. A guy like me, I mean, I'm barely monetized. I get a check every month that's $150. So if I put out 2 videos a week is our typical plan, by the time you divide that by 8 videos, I mean, it's $20 a video, So when I start looking at time, I should spend 8 minutes on one, that video. But for,
I think, honestly, I think you should look at it that way. I really think so, because otherwise, or find some sort of a middle ground where you don't feel you're investing too much and the return is not there. I look at it that way, especially when I do my photos. And man, I've shot for free because I wanted to do it,
Yep.
But we all have to pay our bills, and at some point you have to, make a decision whether, okay, can I afford to make it for free? Should I, or should I just have a different conversation altogether? Like photographs, they take time, man. You have to light them well, and it's a composition process. And so people look at them, they go, "Oh wow, that looks nice," and then you tell them the price, and they're like, "Oh, okay. Well, how do you think you get to that point? It's not just click and shoot.
Yep. So I followed. So we had an LS swap Jeep Grand Wagoneer that we did the LS swap on.
Right.
There's a local photographer here, and so I wanted him to take photos for the owner of the truck.
Right.
So I followed him with the camera, and we did an entire video for.
That's cool. It was the behind the scenes. That's cool.
Yeah, and it was really good. At one point, we were close to the end, And I asked how many photos he had taken, and he said, oh, I don't know, 100, 150 photos.
Sure.
And at that point in the video, that's when people comment, because they're like, oh my gosh, I can't you would 150 photos. You weren't even done. So, and we spent 3 hours doing it. So, you think about that. For people like Brian Lade at Black Seed, he has some really nice cars, and he's had some very professional photos done. But for guys that are walking around at Cars and Coffee with a nice camera, shooting these shots, you may spend 2 or 3 hours editing those for somebody to grab them off of Facebook or Instagram and just post them up, So it's interesting. Photography, I don't have the patience for that and skills, but the photographers, you guys are awesome, and especially your photos. I mean, what is?
Thanks, Mike.
What's your Instagram?
So it'll be Álvaro _Amerisis, AMERISIS.
I'm gonna pull it up now to show these folks, because it's amazing.
Thanks, man.
Again, I'm trying to figure out all this stuff. Let's see here. I'm gonna share my screen so I won't be able to see you guys. But I mean, just like this shot here is a great one with the movement and everything.
Right. Yeah.
Obviously, his stuff is super cool. But like this shot here, that speaks to somebody like me that is the building process of a car, right? So like I come across this shot and I was like, yes. And especially of that guy, like that dude can build some real legit.
Badass stuff. That one, any of those, sure. That one is that's a good one too.
Yeah, great stuff. This one here, I thought was really neat, just with the way you used the lighting, and it really shows the detail in this truck build.
Right. See, for example, like that shot right there, that is made of, if I'm not mistaken, that is 10 photographs, one on top of the other. Because what you do is you light for each individual element in the truck. So there's one for the front, there's one for the fender, there's one for the wheels, there's one for the interior. I don't know if you noticed, like inside the truck, there's a little blue going on in the cabin. That's me putting a light inside just to give it some extra flavor or whatever. So then once you have all that one is 10 photos, one on top of the other.
Wow.
So, and then once you combine them all and find what's the best part of each one, then you have to sort of blend it in such a way that it looks, all part of the same thing.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
How do you even get to that? All right. So Straight Six Fan, he's out of here. I appreciate him. He's one of the guys that did the solo B-roll. He was the guys that started it. And it really has forced me, because we dropped our video. It was like our number 498 or 500 or something like that.
Cool.
And so I decided after that, I'm going to get serious about editing. I'm going to get serious about how I make better videos for people that are watching our channel.
Right.
So, and that's why having guests like you is awesome.
Oh, I appreciate it, Mike. And as I told you before, man, whatever I can help you with, I think you have to, anyone, and I still do myself, man. Whenever I take pictures, I send it to my friends so they can criticize them and tell me, that whether they suck or not, whatever. I don't mind. Once you know that then you are, going downhill. And I just don't think that way. You know what I mean? Like always try to, make it better, improve it, and find a more efficient way to do it. And so what I'm trying to say is, don't be, afraid to show your work and expect some bullets sometime, because you'll get them. But if they come from the right people, they'll help you grow. And, this is what, in the end, this is all about,
Yeah, definitely. So I found a YouTube channel. Do you feel like you'll work more on that, as you come along? I don't think there were many recent videos on that channel.
No, because here's the truth. What I'm doing right now is really try to push bang knuckles and trying to get there out there. I mean, and I'm trying to create content for bang knuckles.
Oh, cool.
As much as I can. Now, having said that, though, I think I should feed my personal YouTube channel more because there's no much in it. And we're thinking about like an idea for a show for YouTube.
Yeah.
And we're talking with a guy who's interested in doing it. It's just a matter of, I guess, agreeing on the budget and whatnot. And my photos too. I'm trying to push a marketplace where you can buy prints of the photos on demand, so they're not just sitting there on my hard drive.
Yeah, definitely. That would make it a little different.
Yeah.
What is the future for Bang the Knuckles then? Kind of walk us through that, and then I mean, definitely we want people to spend money with you. How do we give you money?
Man, I mean, obviously the first thing will be to get one of the trucks. Here's the thing. I've received a lot of comments from people saying, hey, this is pricey, and I understand it's not a cheap product. But once you realize the amount of work that has gone into making each one, it's really not that cheap. It's not that expensive, to be honest. The QR codes, you have the 3D models, you have the 3D printing, you have the designing, the box, everything is so unique because we want it to be something special. Now, I don't want to be foolish and say, hey, if you don't buy one of our trucks, you're out of the game. That's not the way to go. So what we're coming up with, it's a more affordable version of the truck, which is not going to include all the bells and whistles like the light and the QR codes and all the rest of the stuff, which is cool because the way we think about it is this is a piece of Americana. This is culture. The fact that we are living it doesn't make it less so. And I like that, you know what I mean? This is not your typical Hot Wheels you're gonna just put somewhere. This is something special, or at least I would like to think so.
Yeah,
guys like Hale, like many other hard rodders all over the world and builders, especially in America, they are part of the fabric that makes the hard roading world special, and that needs a place. You know what I mean? That it is something else. But I get it. It's sometimes you just can buy it. So we're gonna come up with a shorter, smaller version, which we think will make it more accessible. We also have some swag. Use some T-shirts and some hats, and we're coming up with a couple of things. My wife, she's a designer, so she's helping me a lot. That kind of stuff.
I can't imagine y'all's dinner table conversations then. Creativity that would come from that table.
Yeah, right. Sometimes, yeah, man. I mean, I've been fortunate to have the wife that I have, and to be honest, because she supports me, and sometimes I have these crazy ideas, but she gets it, and I try to support her as much as I can. She's very talented, man. She does her own thing, and I admire some of the talents that she has, and so yeah, I mean the future for Bang Knuckles, it's looking bright, man. I mean I'm fortunate to say so. What I've noticed is that some people, especially big builds, they will like to have this special collector's edition for them, in which case the investment is not going to be too much, relative to what they spend already in the big build. So some of the shops, we've talked and they are willing to consider that route. So what I have in mind is, say you have this big shop and they have a client who has invested I don't know how many thousands. We will give the client this unique box with all the details and whatnot, but we also keep it for ourselves so we can offer a printed version for collectors, for enthusiasts.
Oh, that's great.
To buy it through Bang Knuckles. Yeah.
That's a great idea. And that was going to be my next question was, would this transcend to other shops? Would it be other vehicles that you'd be offering?
Yes, very much, Mike. Yeah. In fact, next week, hopefully, I'll meet with a couple of shops they've shown interest, and it's just a matter of getting the ball rolling and how to get that 3D model. That's the tricky part, man. That's the tricky part, especially when they have textures. But we have some options, and I've been looking, into some new technology and try to, facilitate it somehow. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and the one thing about people that build that level of car, or a customer that allows someone to build that level of car,
yes,
is they understand time. They understand that it takes time to get that. They understand that, time comes at a cost, because a lot of those people, that's how they value things, is they understand it.
Yes.
With the connectivity of the world right now, with it, everybody has Instagram, everybody has Facebook, everybody has YouTube. They can, a lot of times they're following those builds already.
Yes.
Now they can have a collectible part from that build, in the form of something for their desk or their mantle or, showroom, whatever.
The way I see it, man, this is a conversation I have with Nathan and I've had with other builders, man. This guy, for me, and you are too, are artists. It's just the form and the tools that you're using to express it is different, but it doesn't make it less artsy than anything. You know what I mean? Because the time, the passion, the decisions about, does it look balanced? Is the stench right? All the cool aspects that you want to put into them.
Yeah.
That's an artist thinking, exactly an artist thinking. So it should be appreciated as a piece of art. Now, can I afford the real Picasso? Well, hopefully so. But if I can, maybe I can enjoy myself a nice picture of it, and that's the way I look at it.
Yep. And what ends up happening is that again, they're building rapport with that builder. A lot of, so they buy this truck, then they buy, say, the next truck that comes out, or a car. He's turned out a ton of crazy stuff.
Yes.
And you start maybe going back through some of his top builds, and it's just interesting. I definitely want to have you back on. I want to see what happens in 6 months. I want to see what happens in a year, for sure.
Oh man, yeah, we're pushing as much as I can, Mike. Really, I'm excited. I'm a collector myself. I don't spend crazy money on stuff, but I spend some decent money. And honestly, I think there's value to it. I really think so. When you go to, and that's all the thing that I noticed when you go to the shows, you appreciate the builds and you appreciate what's in front of you. But besides the usual merchandising, there's no much you can take back home with you.
Yeah.
That's the truth. And you see it over and over and over. So we're trying to sort of create a space where you actually own something. And imagine you buy the car, whatever version, the super collectors or not, and you have the builder there, he can sign it for you. So that kind of relationship, it's different, I think. And also, I think it also opens up just pure good old communication, man. Just let's talk to people, you know what I mean? Let's see what they're all about. And it will be, you will be surprised of how interesting, some of these people's lives are. And I think that's what this is all about too,
That's amazing, and especially Nathan's story. He's got
very
story.
much. Yeah.
So I'm really interested. This really intrigues me. It's really neat. So I want you to stay on with me.
Yes.
I want you for just a few more minutes, but I think we'll go ahead and close it out. I've got to get to work on the truck, or I'm going to make my drag race event. So I want to talk to you for 5 or 6 minutes, and then
yes, sir.
So I'm going to send everybody out. Everybody, thank you for watching. All of the links to all the stuff we talked about in this will be down below in the description if you're watching this later. And you'll have to come back later because I'm going to have to get those links from him for the Instagram channels and all that kind of stuff. So we definitely, Brian Late and I will be down that way at some point this summer at some car show or Cars and Coffee or something like that. So we'll definitely have to get together. You're like 5 hours from me. So everybody be watching for that. I'm gonna end the broadcast, but you stay with me, okay?
All right.